So, hello guys, welcome back again. The 5 dysfunctions of a team, overlaid with an understanding of the emotional intelligent leadership. Your hosts here, Ian and Sean, and without further ado, we're going to get into the 5th level of the fourth. Oh my, the 4th level of the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and that is
accountability. So remember, it's a foundational model. It's built on vulnerable trust. It's built on the ability to then move into productive conflict, and then move in to commitment to the decisions that you make through that productive conflict. And of course, as you pointed out towards the end of the session we did on commitment, Sean, the next one is accountability. And accountability is about making sure that everybody in the team does what they set out, what they say they're going to do at the end of the decisions following commitment. So it's interesting as well that we're looking for really powerful peer accountability, and that's when members of a team are not don't shy away from saying to another member, you're not pulling your weight here, or you said you were going to do this and you haven't done it. And they're doing that because they want the team to succeed, and the way it is, because the team has common goals, then everybody has to do their bit, otherwise it's as strong as the weakest link, and it's difficult. And in the 5 behaviors, accountability is always the one that scores the lowest, because as humans, we don't like to to rock the boat. We don't like to get out of rapport with people and get into uncomfortable discussions about either their results or bad behaviors. We're doing it because we want the team to succeed, and we're doing it because we care about the performance overall and the performance of the individual. But it takes us out of our comfort zone, and in many cases, we don't have the courage that it needs to do that.
And why do you think it is that the people that we in teams don't have, generally speaking, it's broad brush strokes, we in teams don't have the courage to hold our peers to account?
Well, I think it comes down to have you got that foundation in place? I mean, if you don't trust each other, and you can't be unguarded and open with each other, then to hold somebody accountable, get out of the comfort zone and say you're not pulling your weight, you're not going to be in the right zone to have a productive conversation. What's going to happen is they're going to say, piss off.
Yeah.
Pardon my French. That
wasn't French.
Yeah.
It wasn't French.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, from the emotional intelligence side of things, I would see that as, in order for you and I to hold each other accountable, yes, there must be trust there.
Yeah.
And that trust is built from a space of safety.
Yeah.
So you have to feel safe with each other.
Yeah.
Also, there's an element of walking your own talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think the piece that really strikes me about holding somebody else accountable, I'll talk from my own perspective, is that I wouldn't hold somebody accountable to something that I say is a good thing, and that I would potentially do myself if I wasn't willing to do that thing myself.
Yeah.
There's sort of a dual thing going on about, in order to hold you accountable, I really should be walking my talk as well.
It plays back to what you were talking about on our first in this series, where you were talking about your time in the command in the Marines, when you had that you held each other accountable in a way that was really important, because it was about the safety of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're talking here about everybody being a leader.
Yeah.
And I mean, the analogy from the Marines is I think is wonderful. But there's one more recent, which is a New Zealand rugby team. And just really briefly, the New Zealand rugby team for the last 30 years, 40 years, have been a team up in the #1 slot throughout the whole of the year, for the rugby and for like world rugby rankings. The challenge was that in that period of time, they'd only won a World Cup something like once. And about 15, 16 years ago, they started to identify what the real challenge was. And what they put in place was 15 principles. And this is the abbreviated version. They put in 15 principles. But one of the key principles was that everybody's a leader. So in a hierarchy, you've got one captain, for instance, and then everybody else follows suit with the captain. Well, that was something they changed completely. They just said that we've got forwards and we've got backs, we need a captain for each. And for each of the specific areas or pairs within the gameplay, they have a captain and a second. That second is the one who steps up to be the captain as if the other one has to go off or what have you. So what they instilled was a sense of complete ownership from each person. And the angle they took was, here's a jersey. It is yours for now. And the idea is to leave it in a better state than when you got it. And that's not its physical state. And the idea then is that if everybody has ownership of their jersey and their number, and they take full responsibility, then they're part of a bigger why, a bigger team. And each person, if they're playing to the top of their game, is then also in a position to hold others accountable, because they have taken on personal leadership responsibility. And the sort of the last thing on that is that the New Zealand All Blacks went from being the #1 team in the world throughout the year and then losing in World Cups to winning 2 World Cups back to back. Never done before. First team in history. And it was all to do with the sea change in attitude and the legacy they wanted to leave. But underpinned with everybody stepping up, being responsible, and being a leader of themselves and their little space, allowing them to lead others.
I like that. I like that. And it sort of plays to my view of it as well. So we talk about peer-to-peer accountability being important. And in some organizations, that's not there. They expect the leader to hold everybody to account.
It's like a cascade.
And that can work. And it's important that the leader does if necessary, because if the leader doesn't hold anybody to account, the rest of the team won't.
Sure, but it's the classic rowing analogy, isn't it? If you stop rowing, then what do you expect the team to do?
But if everybody's clear that if necessary that leader will hold the team to account, then that gives permission for everybody to step up in terms of their own personal leadership and their own challenge to the team in a way that works.
So, absolutely.
I think that accountability and that story you told about New Zealand is very powerful, and it resonates with what I know from business.
Perfect. So that's
accountability. That's 4 out of the way.
Accountability is cracked. So I hope folks you're finding this useful, interesting. Please leave comments below, all that kind of stuff. Share it if you like it. And we look forward to seeing you on the next session, which is the last session in this little series. And what's that on, Ian?
That's attention to results. So it's a foundational model, and it all the results at the end of the day is what we're after, and it all hinges on getting that foundational model in place.
Got you. And we all like to see great results, don't we?
Exactly.
All righty, that's it from us.
See you next time, guys.
See you next time. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.